I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you strong. There ain't no point in resisting. Living life like a dream, live it right, that's the thing. Every night got a team, I've been tied to the scene. I have a dream, that's all I need, it's a dream. I'll make it happen sooner than day. If you need know what I want, then I'll get it. So I'll take it down, I regret it. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you play it, then I win it. There ain't no point in resisting. Living life like a dream, live it right, that's the thing. Every night got a team, I've been tied to the scene. I have a dream, that's all I need, it's a dream. I'll make it happen sooner than day. If you need know what I want, then I'll get it. So I'll take it down, I regret it. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you play it, then I win it. There ain't no point in resisting. Living life like a dream, live it right, that's the thing. Every night got a team, I've been tied to the scene. I have a dream, that's all I need, it's a dream. I'll make it happen sooner than day. If you need know what I want, then I'll get it. So I'll take it down, I regret it. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you play it, then I win it. There ain't no point in resisting. Living life like a dream, live it right, that's the thing. Every night got a team, I've been tied to the scene. I have a dream, that's all I need, it's a dream. I'll make it happen sooner than day. If you need know what I want, then I'll get it. So I'll take it down, I regret it. I'll swear to God, I'm gonna make it happen sooner than day. That's all I need, it's a dream. Living life like a dream, live it right, so I'll take it down. Every night got a team, I've been tied to the scene. I have a dream, that's all it is. My mind is so clear, it's like to make it this. That I can know, it's all the ocean. I swear to God, I'm gonna make it the ocean. 2 seconds all that I know, it's all I know, it's all I know. You know I love to watch how I get it. See my phone, I'm in the house, it's where it goes. Gotta find it all. My mind is so clear, it's like to make it this. That I know, I already see it. It's all what you do, it's all I'm ready to be there. You have a chance, all I know, yeah, it's how it goes. I don't care now, you know I watch how I get it. It's where it goes. Gotta find it all. My mind is so clear, it's like to make it this. That I know, I already see it. It's all what you do, it's all I'm ready to be there. You have a chance, all I know, yeah, it's how it goes. I don't care now, you know I watch how I get it. It's where it goes. Gotta find it all. My mind is so clear, it's like to make it this. That I know, I already see it. It's all what you do, it's all I'm ready to be there. You have a chance, all I know.
Hello guys, welcome to my channel. This is my first stream, and for those of you who don't know me, I am Anay Gupta, and yeah, I think you might have watched the launch video, and that has clearly said that I am the world topper in IGCSE Mathematics, and also I have got all 8 A stars in my IGCSE Feb March exams. So clearly I think I did a fair job in my exams, and today we will be discussing the math paper that I just attempted. We will be discussing, I will be sharing a lot of tips, and most importantly I want to share with you what I thought at that point of time. And because giving that exam is really a nervous experience, and you want to do a good job there, because it does not matter like how well you have done in the practice tests, the past papers, the prelims. All that matters is how well you would do it on that day. Okay, so yes, this is my room. It can be a little messy, and yes, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask us. Okay, and Cosmics, please do not address me as sir, you can address me as a friend. I'd like that address more. Okay, so let's just set up some context. Okay, I told you my name. Math is my forte. Okay, I really like doing math, and it's my strength basically. More than that, I really felt that this world topper, the thing that happened to me, like I scored 200 out of 200, that was not really a coincidence. I really believed in myself that I could score that. So I think that it was well prepared, the what happened. uh yeah. And but what happened was that I think the math paper, there are two papers in IGCSE math, if you might know, and the paper 2 was, I think, the fourth or fifth written paper, and I was really nervous before going into that exam. Usually I try to zone myself out, but that exam, I could really feel the pressure, and in the back of my mind it was continuously running ki, it is the math paper and there are no mistakes to be made. Because it other subjects you would expect that, okay, they can, if you get a 98 or a 97, you may say that they have cut, maybe there's a scope for cutting the marks. But in math paper it's just so black and white, and that's why it's so predictable, and that is why I really liked it, because I knew that, okay, if I have not made any mistake, then I am getting 100. There's like no scope of cutting marks if there is no mistake. Okay, so that was one thing. So I have really felt the pressure there. And now let's give me the first pro tip here. So while you're practicing, that's what helped me. That is exactly that was the savior for me during the paper 2, and that lesson I took forward for the paper 4 as well. So what I did was, there's a 90-minute limit for the 70-mark paper 2, and I started practicing to complete that paper with, of course, full accuracy. In first at 45 minutes, then in 40 minutes, 35 minutes, and then half an hour as well. So I cut the time to 1/3. I used to just give myself 30 minutes, and if I went a single minute overboard, that means that I would cut 1 mark for myself. So if I went, say, 5 minutes overboard, I would cut 5 marks for myself. And for me, every single mark was very important. I had developed that attitude that I want to be a perfectionist, and I'll come to that attitude part later in some other video. But yeah, so that's what helped. And so, if there was the very easy questions that come at the beginning, if they would take me, say, usually around, say, few seconds, I'd spend 5-10 minutes over them. So even if they at the end, I knew that, okay, if there are, say, 30 marks remaining and I have just 30 minutes, I know that I have the potential to do them with complete accuracy. So that was what helped me, because when I spent the first 1 hour, I think I just solved about 40 marks of the paper. That's not a lot of questions, if you know, and those are very easy questions. So I was literally shivering, and I somehow then calmed my nerves in that 1 hour. Just took a 5-minute, I closed my eyes for 5 minutes, just breathed deeply, and then came back. And then, of course, I took that lesson into paper 4, where I started zoning myself out and not feeling the pressure anymore. Okay, so let's get to the paper straight away. I'll be discussing paper 4 today, because I think paper 2 is fairly easy. But yeah, if you do have any other questions, then you can ask me definitely. Okay, let's get to the paper. Alright, so now this was the paper that we got, the paper 4. I think that was the Monday of the second week, about the 6th or the 7th paper that I was writing. And okay, I was fairly confident by the end of paper 4 that if I get this, I had got 70 on paper 2, that I was fairly confident that I will get 70, and that I just had to nail this paper. And the best thing that we got was that it started with the easy questions. There were no difficult questions at the beginning. All the longer questions like trigonometry and the functions, the graph of functions, all those big chapters are at the end. So that was one good thing for us. But nevertheless, whatever it is, there was no excuse to do something bad. So when I read the first question, my heartbeat was still pumping. Just got the paper. We get the paper, say, 10 minutes in advance, and then just there's time to read some documents and all of that. So after that, when I got the paper, and when the time started, I started blitzing them out. So of course I would double check them, but not like the paper 2 where I would just go over them 5 times, 10 times, and dread over like any mistake or ghosts that I saw that were not like the mistakes that I did not make. So okay, of course, now let's start with the questions and then we can discuss like as we solve them up. So the first question, very easy. Alan and Beatrice share $750 in the ratio Alan is to Beatrice is 8:7. Show that Alan receives $400. I think this is a fairly easy question. Chapter is ratios and dividing into ratios and proportions. So the amount would be 8 upon 8 plus 7, and this is how you have to show the steps into 750. That is equal to 8 upon 15 into 750, and if you calculate it, that should come to $400. So there you get your 1 mark. Okay, and next question is Alan spends $150. Write 150 as a percentage of $400. Okay, very simple question again. That is 150 upon 400 into 100. That comes up to 37.5%. Okay, so that is the answer. Now when I was solving this question, now seeing the 1 markers, you feel little confident that you are fine, because you give me these questions any other day, like I would just solve them in less than a minute, maybe 20 or 30 seconds only. But because it was the board exam, and that is what was like so supremely important for me at that time, I was a little, of course, nervous and scared. So I did double check and triple check it with my calculator many times. Okay guys, for all those who are watching, so glad that you are here. Please don't forget to like the stream, and if you do have any comments, if you have any questions, then you please do ask me in the comments and I'll go through them. Alright, fine. So let's go further. He invests the remaining $250 at a rate of 2% per year simple interest. Calculate the amount that Alan has at the end of 5 years. Okay guys, if you please be with me at the end of the video, there's one particular question that was so peculiar, and it has never happened in the history of IGCSE. They have never asked such a question, because that question had 3 correct answers, and like all of us were so bamboozled, we did not know what to do. And I'll tell you how we went about it and all of those stories, but yeah, let's go in the flow. Okay, he invests this money at this, so this is the principal, this is the rate of interest, and this is the time, which is a fairly simple concept. So the simple interest is 250 into 2% into 5 years, and that comes up to $25. So the amount, you have to be careful, they have asked us for the amount, and so the amount, the amount would be 250 plus 25, that is $275. Fairly simple question. Please take your notebooks out and do them with me. It's a very nice and interesting paper, and that is like, this is a paper that's very dear to me, of course, because that is what made me the world topper. IGCSE is just fairly easy, just if you practice enough. Speaking about practice, I really practiced a lot to get like it so correct, because what I personally feel is that it is not just mere luck, because all those who got 99s are not any less able than me and the other world toppers. They also have the same amount of knowledge, or at least up till IGCSE level they know it so thoroughly, but they just induced a silly mistake, and then just maybe a negative sign or positive sign wrong, that just changed the game. So I think practice is really, really important. But I think what's even more important is just being very truthful to yourself and to others. Not being hostile, and not giving the wrong advices to others. So all those good deeds that you do, that do add up, and I'll talk about them much more in detail in the coming videos. But it's really important, of course, to practice. Like I had practiced about say 150 papers and 2 whole textbooks and a load of other things as well. So enormous amount of practice is required. Okay, now this question, if any of you have solved, guys, I'll love it if you can put your answers in the comments. That would be very, very, that would be like a wonderful thing. Okay, right, fine. Thank you Learn with Class Experimentations. That's a good encouragement to have. Alright, the next question. Beatrice invests her $350 at a rate of 0.25% per month compound interest, and that is per month that we have to take care. Okay, calculate the amount Beatrice has at the end of 5 years. If anybody has the answer, please put them in the comment section. That would be great if you do that. Alright, fine. Now what we have to do, the formula is of course A is equal to P plus 1 upon R, 1 plus R upon 100 raised to N. Now of course the principal is given to us, that is $350. The rate of interest is 0.25%. Now what we have to be careful about here is per month, and when it is given in bold, we have to take it like very seriously, that they want something like extra. There is some trick involved. When they give something in bold, it is always that there is some special case or some specification that they don't want us to ignore. So you cannot just say that they are bluffing. Many times what happens is they give extra information that is just, they're like bluffing, and they just want you to trust your instincts, and that just comes up with practice, of course, that when they are bluffing and when they are not bluffing. But when it is given in bold, you can be 100% sure that they are not bluffing. So the time period now will be 5 and per month, so 5 times 12. So the amount will be 350, 1 plus 0.25 upon 100 raised to 60. Okay, let me just do that on my calculator. So I get it as 406.57 rounded off to 2 dps, but you need to pay attention that they want it to the nearest dollar, so we have to round it off to the nearest dollar. That will be $407. Now when I was solving this question, I was really, really anxious, because when you get answers like this, 275, you know that they can be correct, but when they have like never ending decimals or such obnoxious answers, they're very difficult, because of the fact that you can't be sure. Like even in trigonometry that happens, because you just can't be sure that what you have done is correct, and you really need to triple check, and then just trust your instincts to go with the answer. Okay, let's go further. Thank you to all those people who are watching the stream. Please do like the stream, guys, and subscribe here if you're new. It will be a great help to me. Okay, Carl, Dina and Eva share 100 oranges. This is a nice question. Let's see if you can solve this. Okay, now what we have to do is we have to make the common denominator. Okay, now Carl is to Dina. Let's take C for Carl and D for Dina. So C is to D is equal to 3 is to 5. Now if you have practiced enough, you have definitely solved these kind of questions. And what was important for me at this point of time was to be my usual self, because when I am under pressure, or when I'm consciously thinking about that pressure, and when I am really conscious about what I'm doing, I tend to get the wrong answers. So only when there were like big questions like quadratic expressions, or something of that sort, or the graph of functions of mostly algebra based, so only on those questions I would spend like some extra time to ensure that all these expansions or all the whatever I've done is correct. But apart from that, I learned from paper 2 that I don't have to be so nervous, and I have to just blitz it out like I usually do, because when you do it like you have done in the practice, because when you simulate it again in the final exam, then you have the most confidence, and then you have the most chance of getting the accuracy correct. So okay, now and C is to E, we have to just find the ratio. First step would be to find the ratio C is to D is to E, and then we can find it out of 100. Is 2 is to 3. Now, very nice question. You have to make this part of the ratio equal. So how will you do that? It is to multiply it like this by 2, and this has to, so you will take an LCM of 3 and 2 basically, and then multiply the ratio by that factor. So that is what you get. So C is to D is to E is 6 is to 10 is to 9. So that is what you have got. Now you just have to find how much C gets out of 100. So 6 plus 10 plus 9. So how do you find that? So C is equal to 6 upon 6 plus 10 plus 9 into 100. That's how we do that. And now if you solve it, you'll get the answer as 24. So that's the correct answer, 24. Okay guys, hope it's going good. No, these questions are like pretty much easy. It's if you just stay updated and watch my future videos, I'll be really taking you through every step of IGCSE. Like if you've watched my launch video, it is all about strategy and execution, and that's what we're going to be discussing. So please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon too, so that you stay updated with all the latest content. Alright, next question. At the end of the first year, value of the house increases by 5%. Now at this point of time, you need to really practice that. You have to slow down, because once you read a large question, there are two instincts. The first instinct is to just skip the question and go to the next question. Now the D part may be related to the C part, so it may be you can't even solve the D part then, and then you have to go to the next question, like the second question. Or the second instinct is to just read it in brief. So what I will do is I will read it as increases by 5%, increases by 3%, and value at the second year is this, how much he paid for the house. Now if you do it like this, there are two cases again. The first is that you end up substituting or solving it in any random manner, and you have not read it well and you get the wrong answer. And the second case is that you just don't understand the question, and then you get demoralized because you feel that the paper is difficult and that you can't solve it. So what I would suggest you to do is not leave the question. You don't want to. It's all about proving yourself. What I believe is that it's just, of course, it's a battle between you and yourself, right? So you need to prove yourself that you are capable to get the 100, and you want that 100. So if you really want that 100, you know that you need to believe that you can solve this question. And how will you believe, how will you gain that belief? It's, you know, by scoring those hundreds in the practice tests. So once you score that 100, once you have, you know, see that 130 out of 130 on your question paper, that is the time when, you know, you realize that, okay, I have that potential. And if you know you have the potential, then you're not going to be intimidated by such a long question. At the end of the first year, value of the house increases by 5%. Okay, so what I used to do, I used to always assign variables to each of the like cases. So for example, I would say, the question is how much Fred paid for the house. So let the house initial value be X. You know, now I always found it easier to work with this rather than big words, because you know, it is sometimes, especially under that enormous pressure, it may get difficult, you know, to comprehend, and then you may just, you know, either end up getting it wrong, or end up getting demoralized, or, you know, somewhat, but it just, you know, ruins the rest of the paper. So what you have to do, just take a calm head, go slow, and that is why it is very important to have practiced it in the 1/3 of time. That trick that I told you just now, practice it in 1/3 of the time. So for instance, if you're solving this 2.5-hour paper, try to do it in at least 90 minutes or 75 minutes at the maximum. Okay, now if the value of the house increases by 5% at the end of the first year, so what does that mean? At end of first year, okay, at end of first year, value of houses increases by 5%. Now we all know this means 1.05x, correct? Now at the end of the second year, it increases by 3% of its value of the end of the first year. So at end of second year, value is 1.03 times of 1.05x. Take it very slowly. Let our mind also feel that it has been rationally solved step by step. Okay, so this is equal to 1.0815x, correct? Now, and then we substitute this. So this is 60,564, and now this is a very simple algebraic equation. You solve it, divide it by 1.0815, and you get the answer as $56,000. Okay, one more very pro tip. It's a very important tip that your teachers may or may not give you. You know, you're attending this stream, and it's my duty to, you know, give you these insight tips, because these questions can be solved by any random teacher. So what is the purpose of you attending the stream and spending your valuable 2 hours or something? So let me give you a very important tip. You know, I have seen that there was one person, he solved everything correctly, got all the correct answers, but you know, there is something called as moderation in Cambridge, which means that if your paper is exceptional, if you have written very well, then it will go to the moderators. That is like a term for very strict examiners, and they will just try to find those little nuances and cut your marks, even if your final answer is right, your working is right. But then they will see that, okay, have you presented it well, and is it like going in a logical flow? So what I used to do is that if you need to set yourself apart, because they want to have as less as world toppers as possible. So what you need to do is you need to show them that you have presented the paper very well. You know the questions, you know the answers, but you also know how to write an exam. because that is also a very important skill. So for the first trick is to always explain your variables. I could have directly started from this line, 6, or from this line, but I explained this. Even if I was not explaining on stream, even if I was adding a paper, I would have written it like this, so that the examiner knows that even though he knows what x means, x can only mean the initial value of the house, but still he knows that I have presented it very well, and so he will give me an extra credit in moderation. And extra moderation is all about, it is to some extent comparing it with other papers, and you need to set yourself apart. So that is very important. If there's suppose some geometric question, you can maybe draw a diagram, and it is always very crucial to label your diagram. So either you could label it, say, like A, B, C, or you could label these sides with small letters, say X, Y, Z, or these angles as X, Y, Z, whatever it is. The question is, you need to go it accordingly. Okay, let me just pick up some pace. Feeling it to be too fast, I don't understand something, just let me know, but let's just go a little quick. I hope you're solving this too. It will be a good practice for you, and you can just instantly correct it with my answer, and if you get that right, you're good to go. Okay, Gabriel invests $500 at a rate of R% per year compound interest. The end of 8 years, the value of Gabriel's investment is this. Find the value of R. Okay, what happened sometimes is that you have never done it like as part of the syllabus or as a past paper, but you need to develop that memory, because what happened was, once in my biology paper, I think the practical paper, there was a question and about a graph, and we had no idea how we had to draw that graph. But I remember that my biology teacher had shown such a graph in grade 6, I think, and that was what I recollected that at that moment, and I thought that, okay, maybe I have to draw that graph. And as it turned out, I drew that graph correctly, and a lot of people got that wrong. So that of course gave me a lot of bonus points when it came to moderation, and of course also the marks as well. So, and the question was, I think, about for 4 marks or something, so out of 40, so a 10% weightage was that. So it's really important to, even if you feel that it's going out of syllabus, sometimes you need to just understand that, because Cambridge is really unpredictable, and they just simply disrespect sometimes the syllabus questions as well, or the syllabus score. Okay, this question, very simple again. One second. Sorry, there's some, yeah, fine. Gabriel invests $500 at a rate of R% per year compound interest. The end of 8 years, the value of Gabriel's investment is this. Find the value of R. Okay, now it's a very simple question. When you don't understand what you have to do, just start by stating the facts. So that is what you should do, and just take it slowly, because it happens, like right now we're all at ease, we're all so relaxed, but you don't just know how the dynamics of the exam take over, the tension just takes over, and so it's really important. I'll teach you and I'll share with you all the different strategies that I used to help myself keep calm, but still, it can be really frustrating at times. Okay, now this is a fairly simple question. We substitute everything. Sorry. Nice and simple. So the 1 plus R upon, this is of course an exercise of making R the subject of the formula. Guys, if you do not understand any question, please feel free to ask me. Okay, I've left it in the third form, in the root form, but you can, write it. But I just want to avoid premature rounding. That's a very, very big mistake that you can make. That is premature rounding. So just to avoid that, I have left it in the third form. And then you can just put it in the calculator and get the answer for that. Please pardon my handwriting, can be a little terrible. So what is the answer? Take the 8th roots of the answer, subtract 1, multiply by 100, and that comes to 2.4 and 99999. So if we round it off to 3 significant figures, that comes to 2.50%. Okay, now one very simple error. If anybody can catch it right now, what I have made, it would be really great. Okay, let's see if somebody can catch the error. Let's see. I assure you that by watching the stream, really enriching and getting some really pro tips. Okay, and this is a very common mistake that everybody does, and I've known it for a fact that the moderators do cut marks. So if you're aiming for the 100, if you're just aiming for an A, you don't really need to watch the stream. I'll tell you very blatantly. But if you're aiming for the A stars, and the A stars in the higher region, like those 98s and 99s, or even the world toppers, I think that should really be your aim. So if you're aiming for that, you need to know these pro tips, and that could really help you, I feel. Okay, fine. The answer to the question that I said lies here. In this sign, the percentage sign. Okay, because if we notice the rate of R%, so if I write my answer as 2.50%, that would be equivalent to 2.5 upon 100, which can be written as 0.025. So is your answer 0.025? No, right? That's absolutely wrong. So what we have to do is we have to make do with this sign. Okay, yes, if there was no percent sign over here, if they had just given R per year, then of course you had to include that. But since they have already given the percentage sign and the value of R, you have to just find the value of R. You just you just have to write it as 2.50. Okay, oh, oops. Yeah, that is what is your answer. So it's a really important thing to notice. These are the small errors that we can make. Oh, the percent. Oops. Let it be Chando. Okay guys, thank you to till here with me. You've been such so patient and so good. All 4 of you or 5 of you have been really inspiring for me. Thank you for being with me. Okay, this is a very simple question. I don't think I need to spend a lot of time over here. So write down the mode, fairly simple, and the mode is 7 seconds. And median, okay, it's a nice easy question. So the median has to be, because since there's a even number of students, so the frequencies, so it should be 100 plus 1 upon 2, that is 50.5, So it should be an average of 50th and 51st value. That is fairly taught to you in class, I believe. But if you look at this, so these are the first three, then 3 plus 32 gives you 35. If you find out the cumulative frequencies, and plus 19 gives you 54. So this means that both the 50th as well as the 51st, yeah, like the value is 8, and so okay, so the median will also be 8. It's pretty much an easy question. Okay, yeah, I'll just pick up some pace. Why this can go on and on and on. That is 8. Now again, the mean is like very easy. You just have to find the fx, that because if this is your frequency, these are your values, just have to find fx and then sum it, because the formula for mean is summation fx upon summation f. So if you multiply everything, like let me also do it with you. So 6 times 3 plus 7 times 32 plus 8 times 19 plus 9 times 29 plus 10 times 11 plus 11 times 6. So 831, I believe. Let me hope that I have not made a calculation mistake. And that gives you 8.31. This is your answer. Fine. 2 students are chosen at random. Find the probability that both their reaction times are greater than or equal to 9 seconds. Now, this is a very, very tricky question. Not tricky, but where a lot of people make mistakes. What you have to really pay attention to is, like, you have to think rationally. So, for example, like always, there are 2 cases in such a kind of situation. The first is replacement, no replacement. But if you have 2 students, and if I am, for example, if there are 10 students standing in front of me and I randomly count 2 A and B, of course there is not going to be a replacement, because I cannot call 2 A's, right? Say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I cannot call 2 A's because there's only 1 A. So of course there's not going to be any replacement. So then how do we solve this? Greater than or equal to 9 seconds. So we have these are our preferred outcomes. So the probability, now again, we should always state this. As I told you, in the moderation they will check for it, and if you have stated this, they will of course give you extra credit. So the probability, you can write it as x if you have stated that x over here, or you can write it as reaction time, or whatever you can write it as, greater than or equal to 9 is equal to, and then so what would that be? 29 plus 11 plus 6. For the first student it will be 46 upon 100. For the second one it would be 45 upon 99. Fairly simple question. That would give you 23 upon 110. That is your answer. Alright. Okay, box and whisker. Easy question again. Find the range. So the range is of course this. That is the lowest value minus the highest value. I'll go quick in this because it's a very easy question. 158 minus 105. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, which gives you 53. And the interquartile range is this. So the basics of the box and whisker plot. So you must know them. If you don't know them, I think you're really incompetent to appear for those IGCSE exams. These are very, very simple concepts. Your syllabus is not complete and you're not prepared to appear for them. Okay. Calculate an estimate of the mean. Again, this is a very simple 4 marks in your bag. You just don't need to work any penny for it. What I suggest everybody, because very simple way to do it is mean is equal to 60 into 80 plus 99 into 155 plus 41 into 250. Pardon my handwriting, please. Upon, wait, just write it in a little better manner so it is legible. Upon 200. Right now, it's a correct way to do it, of course, no problem in that. But let me show you the way of getting the brownie points from the examiner. How should you do that? Okay, now what I usually do is I say mass and I say it as m grams, whatever it is, m grams, just make a space between them so they don't look milligrams, and we say frequency f, and then I make a table as mid value. Although in the mark scheme they say it as seen or implied, so even if you have written say 60 into 80 somewhere, they will imply it. But when you show them explicitly what you mean and intend to do, then you get those brownie points. And then we make a table for f times mv. That is what is a very, very effective way to solve this question. And of course it also reduces the chance of errors. So if I just make this table, (200) and this is the third frequency, 60, 99 and 41. The mid value is 80, 155 and 250, and then you multiply it. 60 times 80 is 4800, 99 times 155 is 15345. Okay, I'm just solving it here on my calculator alongside you. This is 10250, and then you give the next formula, that is mean is equal to summation f times mv upon summation f. And then when you add them up and then divide it by 200, so you have to show all the steps, guys. You have to, even if it is so silly. And you know, when you go in the board exam, whatever you have done in the prelim, it does not matter. You won't make such a mistake. You won't repeat such an error there. I'm sorry, wait, 4800, sorry. Yeah, that's my mistake, I'm sorry. 30395, yeah, and that's why it's really important to double check. But I'm glad I didn't make that mistake on the day of the exam. Yeah, and the answer is 151.975 grams. Okay. Yeah, you can just write that here as well. I don't have space to write it, so I'm not writing it. A very common mistake to do over here would be to write it as 152. No, that is incorrect. 152 is incorrect, because when you get a proper answer, it is not truncated, like it's an exact answer. You cannot write it as rounded off figure. If it was 151.9756, say 4, and so on so forth, then 152 is correct. But in this case, it is not correct. Okay. So only 152 is the correct answer. 151.975 is the correct answer. Oh, sorry that. No, first day issues. Alright, let's get back. Fine, complete the histogram. This is a very simple question. 2 marks question. Okay, one more very important thing is to analyze the marks of the question. 2 marks question. Now I could show the frequency densities, everything calculated here, but they don't want it. A 2-mark question, you need to also show the examiner that you have the ability to analyze the question paper well. So if you do this, they won't cut any marks. There's nothing negative about that. But if you don't do this, they don't cut your marks, because it of course gives the examiner the impression that you know that how much work needs to be done for how many marks. That it's not. They know that it's not just because it's the board exam that you are so meticulous. Because the IGCSE exams are basically a culmination of your school days, right? So you are showing them that you know how much work is really required and how much work is not required. So if you just don't do the donkey work there, then you are also showing them that you are very competent enough to analyze analyze the patterns of the IGCSE papers. Okay, so if we just find out the frequency densities of this question, that would be the frequency upon class width. So 99 upon 90 would be 1.1. I think it will be 2 squares here. It's a little difficult to draw it over here straight. Yeah, pardon me for the crooked drawing there. Yeah, it would be like that. And then this would be 41. Okay, this is 200 to 300, right? I'll just write it like that, but you don't have to do it like that. You have to write it in this form. So that would be 100, so that comes up to 0.41. Okay, it can be a fairly safe bet if you're not confident about a histogram to show the working of the frequency densities. It should be, of course, another pro tip, guys. It should be a little above the 0.41 mark. It's okay if it goes to say something like 0.45, but if suppose these are your 2 blocks, okay, this is your graph. Okay, let me just, okay, if suppose this is your graph, okay, this is 0.4, this is 0.5, your line has to come somewhere here. Okay, I know it is really difficult when you have very small blocks, but it's okay if it is here. It's okay if it is here. They just need to know that it is between this line and this line. So they just need to know that it is not 0.4 and not 0.45. It is somewhere in the middle, and then they'll give you the marks. Guys who've just joined in, please do like the stream, subscribe to my channel. It would really boost my confidence and help me to make good content for you guys. Alright, very simple question. Geometry. The radius of the cylinder is 12 centimeters and the radius of the sphere is 3 centimeters. Very simple question again. The sphere is removed from the cylinder and the level of the water decreases by 8 centimeter. Show that h is 0.125. Okay, now let us just, once you've skimmed through the question, now let us just annotate everything. So there's a solid metal sphere touching the base of the cylinder. Half of the sphere is in the water. The sphere is removed from cylinder and the level of the water decreases by h. Okay, so now what is the volume of the water level? The total water level, that is the volume of the water. So this sorry, this, the volume that is covered by this thing, the 3 centimeter height. So we just write it as when as I told you, you have to specify everything. When h is 3, then the volume is equal to volume of water. You can write it something like that, like this one, plus volume of hemisphere. We need to be careful that only half of where is this? Half of the sphere is in the water. So that's just why it will be half of the volume of the sphere. So what would be the volume? That is really clear. So this V, we can of course find it as pi r square h. That is pi 12 square 3 and that comes up to, okay, now the pro tip number 4, 5, I don't know. What you should always do is first write your answer as 432 pi. That's what I got, that's exact form. If suppose you get an answer, say in trigonometry or something like that, you get an answer say as 10 root 3. You write it like this, then you show the examiner what 10 root 3 is. So it is 17.3, and then if you have to use this value, you use 10 root 3. So let me just show you with this example. Let me show you here. That you write this, then you show the examiner that okay, we know that you want to see it in the expanded form. So you write 1360, that is 3SF. But now when I want to use this value for my calculations, I will use this value. That is the pro tip. That always saves you from premature rounding. Always. So you need to be really careful that you need to use this value, but you need to also show them this value. If you have just written this, then maybe they might award you a mark at the start, but if your paper goes to moderation, then it is a definite -1. Definite -1. And we are of course talking about moderation because you know and you believe in yourself that you are going to ace it. You are going to have aimed it at that 100. Like I think 7 or 8 of my classmates got 99, and even 7 or 8 more of them got 98. So it doesn't matter how average you are or how smart you are, the 100 is always a reachable figure. Okay. Fine. Then now we need to find also the volume of this, because if you want to find the volume of the water, we need to find the volume of the hemisphere. So volume of hemisphere is, we know it is given, but okay, 2 upon 3 pi r cube. That would be 2 upon 3 by 3 cube. Always show the substitutions and steps, and now you can give it the direct answer. That comes up to 18 pi. So when you substitute volume of water, it comes around up to 414 pi. Okay, I'll just do it here itself because I have consumed up too much space. But so I'll say that 414 pi is equal to pi 12 square, and you can't use h. Okay, you have to be careful. You cannot use h. Okay, this is fine. This is a formula, so you can use h, but you cannot use h because the h value is this. So if you write for pi 12 square h here, straight away -1, straight away. Moderate, of course. I'm talking about moderation, not the normal thing, but straight away -1, because they want no. They need you. They expect you to know that h, if the value of h can only be 1. You can write h1. That is okay. You can write h1 or anything else. You can write it as k, l, m, n, whatever you want to write. But variable should not be repeated twice. Formula, okay, no problem, but not otherwise. Okay. So then if I solve it up, it gives me the value of k is 1, which comes up to 2.875, and so then you can write it as h is equal to 3 minus 2.875. That is equal to 0.125. No, it would be great if you explain what this k stands for before introducing it. I don't have a space. Otherwise, you can write something like let final water level be k. These little statements are very crucial. You need to introduce them. From all the insiders, sources, and all my research, I have come to know that these are like little things that can give you the bonus credits, and I also pointed out many mistakes that can take away those credits in the moderation. So if you're getting 90, it's really maybe some harsh truth, but yeah, they can deduct a little bit of marks for that. And if you repeat it, because this is a factual inaccuracy. You cannot have two variables have the same value unless it's a quadratic or like a. Yeah, but if there's a power of 1, you cannot have like two values to the same variable. Okay. Calculate the depth is the water in the cylinder is poured into radius r. Depth is 18. Find the value of r. Very very simple question. I'll cruise through it quickly now. So we know the volume of water is 404. Okay, yeah, of course. We need to show the value of 414 pi as well. I'm sorry, I messed that up. But yeah, and of course for 18 pi as well. So that is 1300, and 18 times pi is 56.5. Need to show it, but you have to use then this value for the calculation. Okay, so 414 pi is equal to sorry, pi r square 18. The pi is cut. R square 4 by 18 is 23. So r is equal to root of 23, which is equal to, the more steps you write, the better it is. But they'll not cut marks even in moderation for not writing steps, because that's not factually wrong or something. Yeah, of course, if you missed big steps, then they will cut. But if I just directly write for after this, I skip, suppose say this step, then it's okay. But because it's a board exam, I wouldn't want to take a chance any day. That's the answer. Okay. Spheres melted down. Some of the metal used to make 30 cubes with edge length 1.5 centimeter. Find the percentage of metal not used. Bold, no bluff. Discussed that earlier. Guys, I hope you're solving with me. All those students watching with me. It would be really nice if you watch. Okay, 1 second. Guys, please like the stream. Those who have been with me with this from the start, please applaud for yourself. You have done a great job. Spheres melted down, and some of the metal used to make 30 cubes with edge length 1.5 centimeters. Calculate the percentage of metal not used. Okay, very simple again. We find the volume of 1 cube. It is always advisable not just writing V, because I'll tell you, you write V is equal to say 100. Then you will write volume of 30 cubes. So V is equal to 3000. Then you will write this volume of the sphere. So V is, suppose say it was 18 pi, right? So V is 18 pi. अभी v के 3 वैल्यू नहीं हो सकते ना. It's not a cubic equation, so that is wrong. They can cut your 1 mark. But if I write v of 1 cube, I am specifying this is my variable. So these are now volume of 30 cubes. Now these are different variables. So now it's not wrong. But just v, they can cut your marks. So volume of 1 cube is 1.5 cube. S cube, that's the formula. That comes up to 3.375. Volume of 30 cubes. 75 into 30. That comes up to 101.25. Correct. Now we need to find the volume of the sphere. Remember, we found the volume of the hemisphere last time. So we need to find the volume of the sphere. That is 4 upon 3 by 3 cube. Sorry. We have to. Sorry. 6. Hello. Am I audible? I hope so. Volume of the hemisphere last time. So we need to find. 36 pi and 36 pi is 103.097. Now we need to find what is not percentage of metal not used. So the percentage, we can write as percentage because there's just one percentage to be found. If there are many percentages, then we had to specify. Or you can specify that as like the safest option. That is okay. What I will do now is I will take this the safest option. Upon 36 pi into 100. Very safe. You will get I think the same answer if you use this value also. But still, you know, our safety. And if you are writing the board exam, you are not wanting to take any chance. Now remember, I did all of these questions very, very quickly. Oh, wait. This 101.25 divided by 36 by 200. Just give me the answer as 10 point. Sorry, 5%. 0.5. Is that the answer? Yes, that is the answer. Okay. Hope that is clear. Well, if you want, you can pause it, note it down. Let me go further. Sorry, guys. Dinner. Okay. This is a very, very easy concept. So this is the center. You don't need, this is a 2-mark question again, and so all of those 2 marks are based on where your coordinates are. Moderators will look for factual inaccuracies, but of course if you have done those extra work like I shared with you, they may even ignore one of those, like if you have written v. But if you have mentioned, say, the variables very explicitly and all, they may ignore that mistake. Okay. Now, very simple question by a scale factor of 3. So this is 1, 2, and 3. So that is your first plot. And then it is 1. This is 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. And this is 3 and 1. So 3 times 3 is 9, and 3 times 1 is 3 again. So 3 down, 9 right. This is your triangle. This would be your triangle. rotate triangle T about 4,2 by 90 degrees clockwise. So sorry, 4,2, 90 degrees clockwise, so that would be in this direction. Now, so if you just make, not use a tracing paper, I am not using it, but if you do, then I think this is what you should get. Sorry. Wait. Sorry, this is I don't have it, like I cannot use a tracing paper right now, so this is the answer. This is a fairly easy concept, transformations, and just carefully single transformation that maps label this image as P. This is P. Deflect triangle T in the line of x plus y equals to 6. So the line, this is the line. Like really difficult writing here, but yeah, this is the line. Reflect the image, reflect triangle T over here, and this is a fairly easy question, you know. You just join sorry, this is your first plot. This is, you just say this is 1, and so again another 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 5, comma, yeah. Oh wait, sorry, this is incorrect, maybe, perhaps. It's a genuine mistake, please forgive it. This is P. This is, I'm really sorry. Yeah, human error. Okay, and now describe this transformation. 2 marks. Okay, now a very simple thumb rule that you need to follow is you need to see the marks. If it is 2 marks, it has to be either translation or reflection. If it is 3 marks, it has to be enlargement or rotation. So half of your answer is like, it's like a 50-50 lifeline there. आधा काम तो हो गया. I mean, now half of the work remains. So now you can identify translation तो नहीं है, तो बचा क्या, reflection. Reflection in x equals to 4. Simple concept, simple answer. That is your answer. Okay. Okay, these are okay. Let me just read some comments. Thank you, Nero Auntie, A Square Animation. Okay, yeah, there are a lot of tricks. I'll get through them. You know, there were a lot of tricks that I used to get through those formulas. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, mama. Thank you, Poon, ma'am. And thank you, Anuj uncle, for that as well. Please keep sharing your love. It is really very encouraging for me. Okay, next question. But yeah, please do keep the questions coming. and I'm sure it would be really helpful for you. Okay, now this is a very simple question, vector geometry. Some students I know dread these questions, but according to me, what I feel is that it is just basically a game of algebra, and if you know that, you have aced this question. The diagram shows triangle OHK, where O is the origin. The position vector of H is A, and the position vector of K is B. Z is the point on HK such that HZ is to ZK is equal to 2:5. You can just roughly write it in pencil that this is 2, this is 5. Okay, now find the position vector of Z. What is the position vector of Z? This is OZ. You should be knowing this if you're appearing for IGCSE exams in terms of A and B. Now, very simple question this is. You need to first find HK. You need to first find HK, that is minus A plus B. Yeah, very simple. Again, and HZ is 2 to 5. Now you need to be careful. HZ is to ZK. If it is, so this means that HZ is to HK will be 2:7, because if this is 2, this is 5, then this, and let's say assume that HZ is 2 centimeter, ZK is 5 centimeter, and the entire length will be 7 centimeters, correct? So then the ratio of this to the entire whole length will be 2:7, and so HZ is minus 2/7A plus 2/7B, and then you can just find OZ by OH plus HZ, that is A minus 2/7A plus 2/7B, which gives you 5/7A plus 2/7B. That is the answer. Okay. Yeah, now we get to the tricky part. Okay, now what this question is, basically it is like cakewalk. It is like a cakewalk, but I remember that if I would have solved this question, like, because it comes at the end, they 99% they will ask algebra as the 6th question, 7th question, 9th question, 10th question, or the quadratic questions. All of that comes at the end. The graphs come at the start. So it is a trick. They want you to fall for the graphs. They want you to spend all your energy in making that graph very perfectly, and then you don't have any energy left, or then your mind is tired, and so you are more prone to making errors in these algebra questions, which are more error prone because there are you can make an error in, say, basic arithmetic operations. I may write 2 times 3 as 3. I can just write this maybe as 3p4. That would be wrong, but yeah, of course it's a silly error. Or I can say write this minus 3 into 3 as 9 plus 9. So that is also a simple mistake. So that is where you need to know. When the moment you see algebra, what I always do is I just take a 1-minute break. I just do not, because I have practiced that 75 minutes mein ho jayega, and then say I tell myself that okay, exam hai, maybe I am in a pressure situation, maybe I need to go a little slow. Let me give myself the time till 90 minutes or even 100 minutes, but still I have 50 minutes to cross check and do everything else. But if I am going slowly, the chances of me making errors are even less. So let me just go really let me utilize these 50 minutes very judiciously. And because I have those spare 50 sorry, a really bad cold. Because I have those 50 minutes, I can afford to even just close my eyes for 2 minutes, just stop, drink, sip some water, sip something like a glucon D or something, to revitalize yourself, and just or maybe use the rest of ones just to take that break and come back refreshed. So that is where that time management technique that I told you is really, really important. Okay, now let's just expand this. So this comes to 6p4 minus 9p square minus 4p square plus 6, which is 6p4 minus 13p square plus 6. Writing a Cambridge paper is all about analysis. It is all about knowing that they always give the same kind of questions. You need to know what kind of questions have what kind of answers. That is it. S is equals to, and the best indicator for you are the marks, and I'll tell you how to analyze that later. Let's just get on with the basics first. Please do like the stream. Please do subscribe, guys. Alright. B is equal to S. S is equal to half U plus V and T. This is the equation. This is a very simple question. I'll not spend a lot of time here. Substitution. So very simple answer. That is S. So this carries 1 mark, and this carries 1 mark. This is the answer. Rearrange the formula again. A very simple question. I really consider these things to be like freebies. So this is again another very useless question according to me. I really don't find these questions any challenge, or neither should you. It's okay if you do, but these are really a cakewalk. Okay, but if anybody of you does have any question here, then please do let me know in the chat section and we can discuss that. Factorize completely. Now 2 marks. That means that if there are 2 marks, then it means that either there are 2 factors or there are 2 brackets. Let me tell you, for example, the question is say 8p square plus 4p. Then the answer, you cannot give it as p 8p plus 4 8p plus 4 or 4 2p square plus p. You must give it as 4p 2p plus 1. Because you have seen these 2 marks, you need to know that there will be 2 things outside at least this bracket. So that should immediately kindle your alarm that okay, that is what we have to do. And the second is, of course, if you see 4 terms, you know that you need to form those 2 brackets. So very simple, that we all know. You must have learnt it. Just factorize the first 2, factorize the last 2. I'm sorry. Yeah. And that just, if you find any difficulty, a simple technique is to rearrange this. So you can write it as 2qt plus 4q minus 3t minus 6, and then you solve this equation. Get the same answer. That is one technique of how to do this. If you are finding it a little difficult to manipulate the terms and factorize them, you can just, a simple idea is to just change the order and you can get the answer quickly. And this is the answer, and 2q minus 3. Oops. In the coming days we will be discussing about different other subjects as well, science subjects, economics, ICT as well. I can maybe shed some light on the languages as well. I have performed quite fine in that as well. So yeah, and this is of course, now this is a 3-mark question. This should kindle the alarm कि इतना से तो नहीं होगा, इसमें खाली एक स्टेप लिखने में 3 मार्क तो नहीं मिलने चाहिए. So now you have to be careful, and you just have to use the second rule, that is x square minus y square. That is the rule that we are following. X square minus y square is x plus y, x minus y. That is what you also have to do. Very simple. No, you might be feeling that it is just another paper that we're solving, but trust me, one of my friend really lost out being the world topper, because you can realize how big it would be, to tell the world that you have been atop the entire world, you have come first in the entire world, and just by such silly mistakes that I told you, by just using the same variable again and again, and such mistakes that I've shared with you, he lost out on being the world topper. So you can understand how critical these nitty-gritties are. Write down the equation of L1. Okay, very simple. Y is equal to 4. Not delve into too much on that question. Find the equation of L2. Okay, very easy. Again, so we know that C is equal to 4. So Y is equal to mx plus 4. Now we can find the gradient as well. We can see that y1 minus y2 upon y1 minus y2 upon x1 minus x2. But yeah, where we have these coordinates, we can just write them up like this. Yeah, so you just solve them up and you get y is equal to minus half x plus 1. I'm rushing through this because I want to spend time to really different questions and also share thoughts on how I felt. When I see something like this, straight line graphs, I know it's doable, because straight line graphs are very, very simple. There are only 3 important concepts that you need to know. That is y is equal to mx plus c. The equation and how you form the equation. So that is what is assessed over here. The second is parallel lines, and the third is perpendicular lines. They may ask you shapes, whatever it is, but then you need to then apply knowledge of the polygons and all of that chapter. But straight line graphs, these are the 3 important things I'd like you to make a note. Yeah, and of course the 4th thing is simultaneous equations that they can ask you to solve. Straight line, that is linear equations. These are the 4 things, and I think fairly everybody would be quite updated with that. It's a very easy topic. Now C is the point 2, 3 passes to C and perpendicular to L2. Show that this is the equation. So now when it is show that, you need to elaborate on every step. So you need to state that, say, let gradient of L2 be m1, let gradient of L3 be m2. Therefore m1 times m2 is equal to minus 1. Therefore the gradient is minus half into m2 is equal to minus 1. Therefore m2 is 2. That is the level. Like, it may sound really ridiculous and childish, but you need to show that. You need to show that. It is really important. Now, after that, it's really simple. Y is equal to 2x plus c, and then substitute it. So 3 is equal to 4 plus c, and c is equal to minus. Slap. PC sometimes is just too irritating. And the answer is y is equal to 2x minus 1. You have proved it. Oops. You have proved it. Fantastic. Now, next question. L crosses the x-axis at t. Find the length of CD. Okay. Y is equal to 2x minus 1. You state the facts. Correct. This is a 5-mark question. But what happens is many students are really intimidated when they see the 5-mark questions and the 6-mark questions. They really struggle to keep up with that, and they feel that okay, now it is like the big question, now I need to pay attention, and with that they really get nervous and they get conscious, and then they make errors. And then what happens is they start playing defensive. The moment you go defensive, it's like, and they say that okay chalo मैं ये step लिख देता हूँ, I'll write the formula का 1 mark मिल जाएगा, then I'll solve some basic things, I'll find out the gradient, some little things, and that will give me fetch me around a mark or 2. तो मुझे 100 तो नहीं चाहिए, 100 तो मुझे आएगा ही नहीं, but let me aim for some 95. I'll give me myself a 5 marks का scope. तो 5 mark का question है, even if I get at least 3 marks, तो मेरा 2 mark जाएगा चलेगा. So that is what their zone is. So they are aiming for a 3 and then they are like ठीक है, उसके 3 marks तो हमको मिल जाएंगे, उसके ऊपर जो मिला वो bonus. So that is not the attitude to go for. If you really want to go for that 100, that is not the attitude. The attitude is even 1 mark should not be gone, and you need to nail it, however difficult the question is. That is where the 50 minutes buffer that we have discussed comes really handy. Okay. Now the question is, find the L3 crosses the x-axis at D. Find the length of CD. Okay, it's a very simple question. Now, if it crosses the x-axis, okay, L3 is suppose something like this, and it is like this. It crosses the x-axis at D. This is x, this is y. Now we need to just find the coordinates of D. C is always already given to us. So if it is crossing the x-axis, that means y is 0, of course. So 0 is equal to 2 times x minus 1, and then you solve it, so you get x is equal to half. So D, you have to show the coordinates of D is half, 0. This is giving you about say 1 or 2 marks. Then you have C, so of course you need to just substitute the distance formula. That gives you, what was C? C is 2, 3. Okay. Yeah, so just write it there. C is 2, 3. So it just 2 minus half square plus 3 square. That gives you root of 1.5 square plus 3 square, which is root of 11.25, and that gives the answer as 3.35. Simple question. It's just about not being intimidated. And when can that happen? When you have practiced enough, when you are confident enough, and when you know your stuff. Okay. There was a question earlier about any special tricks to remember formulas by A Square Animation. While I give a deeper explanation for that right now. I'd really like to point it out right now. That you need to segregate yourself chapter wise and then know that which chapters can be combined. So at this moment, straight line graphs, you know what all is there, right? There's distance can be asked, there's going to be the equation of the line and gradient and all of that stuff, and they can be, if they are cruel, or if you're unlucky, maybe they can ask you the area or something, like a geometric shape or something, right? Or they can be a transformation asked, but mostly there is just distance, equation, and maybe an area or perimeter or something of that sort, right? So you are not going to be troubled like that. So you need to know that whatever comes would be within the limits of these 3-4 formulas, and then you'll have to just manipulate it up and down, and that is it, what all you have to do. And the key to getting those high marks in mathematics especially is the key to mastering algebra, because wherever you find a difficult question, you just have to add a variable or do something around, play around with that variable, and you can get your answer. This is a very simple question. This is the universal set, that is 24, has 24 values, P has 17, C has 14, and the intersection is 9. Alright. Okay. So those who study physics only would be 17 minus 9, correct? So that would be 8. 14 minus 9, that would be 5, because that adds up to 14. And those who are neither physics nor chemistry would be 2. Very simple question. I am not really elaborating on that because I want to elaborate on other questions. If you do have any doubt, I would urge you to please ask the questions in the chat. Alright. Find P intersection C complement. Correct? Now P intersection C complement. So C complement, okay, let me just shade it this way. C complement is this thing. Sets can be really confusing, and you need to, because it's just a one marker. So I had a classmate who would be really very overconfident on the one markers. Just scribble them down quickly and get it wrong. So just you need to know which chapters you need to slow down, and sets is one of them. So C complement, P intersection C complement. So P intersection C complement. So only, and if you shade P is this thing up here. So the intersection is just this thing. So that would be 8. It's like a little difficult to explain this way, but if you have any question, if you have not understood this question, please put it in the chat, and I'll probably find a better explanation for you guys. And P union C complement, so we just ignore this 5 and then you just write it as 90, because you have P that is 17 and then C complement that is 8 and 2, but 8 is obviously common, so this is also 2 in the union, so that would be 8 plus 2, that's 10, plus 9, that is 19. 2 students are picked from the class at random. Find the probability that one student studies both, one student studies chemistry only. So P, how I would write it as P intersection C maybe, or you can write P and C, comma P C intersection P complement. So you're making it really clear to the examiner that you know what your probability you are finding, and you're not giving him no chance to cut your marks. So P intersection C means he's studying both. C intersection P complement, मतलब C है and P भी नहीं है, तो ये combination में क्या है? That is your answer. So the probability would be 9/24 into 5/23. I told you, students, no replacement. You need to be careful about that. gives you 15 upon 180. Is that the answer? Oh, sorry, into 2. Yeah, forgot that. And yeah, you have to be careful that if these criteria are different, you write a into 2 there. 15 upon 90. Because there can be a possibility that pehla student studies this, then it is this, or it can be first it is P into C and then it is C intersection P complement. Correct? So you don't know which one comes first. There's not a specific order specified. So that is why you multiply it by 2. And that is the answer. These are some rules of probabilities. If you studied it well, you must know them. Okay. 2 of the students who study physics are picked at random. Find the probability that they both study chemistry. Who study physics? That means that our set is limited. Our set has been restricted right now. Okay. Our universal set is restricted. So only 17 students are considered. Find the probability that they both study chemistry. So we can write both study chemistry. That would be 8 upon 17 into 7 upon 16. 8 into. And the answer. Oh, sorry. Both study chemistry. Sorry, I don't know why I'm making these errors right now. It's been a long time since I did this. 9 upon 17 into 8 upon 17. Yeah. So I'm not quite sure if I'm setting the right example here, but I think it is an example enough to emphasize how much practice is essential. I obviously know probabilities. I have been the world topper, but you just saw me live making that silly error of not reading the question well. You saw me, make this error. I just misread it. Both study chemistry to only physics, not chemistry. So that is why you need to practice. You need to, have the groove set. And it's been what, 5 months since I did IGCSE Math. I have been studying math, but not IGCSE Math. And that is why, even if you know the concept, it is important to practice the past papers. And I think you got a live example, although it was not intentional, but yeah, it was a good example. So area now is half into base into height. I don't think you should be getting it wrong. Basic 5th standard math. It's to 54 cm. Always, this is also okay. Another good pro tip: always you include the units in your working. Okay, always include the units here, not in the final answer, not here, but when you are giving this answer here, always include the units. Crucial stuff. Now AB is equal to 2x plus 3, H is equal to x plus 5. Area of triangle ABC is 50. Find the value of x, giving your answer correct to 2 decimal places. You must show all your work. Now, this is again a 6-mark question. For me, I knew I backed myself to get that right. But for others, it can be really intimidating if you do not have that belief. And I want you to be with the attitude that I had. I want you to trust your instincts, to trust yourself that okay, you don't need to initially go for the key. You don't need to say okay, chalo itna fat khatam ho jayega. No, you just need to start from the top and go with the flow. That is the key to solving math sums. Okay. The killer question has not come yet, guys. It is gonna come, so just stay with me here, and it is gonna be a crazy ride to dissect that question. Okay. Area is 50. 50 is equal to half into base into height, right? So AB is the base, that is 2x plus 3. Height is x plus 5. So 100, and then we expand this, comes to 2x square plus 3x plus 15. Yeah, expanding this comes 2x, 3x, 10x and 15. So 2x square plus 13x plus 85 gives you 0. That is what you have got. Now, another pro tip: whenever you see two decimal places, quadratic formula, always you try factorizing, you'll not get the answer. You can use completing the square, that's okay, but always recommended quadratic formula. So what's the quadratic formula? X is equals to minus b. Okay, again, you never state this, you never write this. Write this, but they'll not cut your marks, but it will downgrade you. So it's not never like, okay, एक बार भी लिखा तो काट देंगे. Okay, it's like, okay, he's given this, so they'll give you like 1 negative point, then 1 negative point, 1 negative point. Now if you have say 3 or 2, if there's like a very tight competition, 1 में भी काट देंगे. It's little lenient. Then 3, 4 में they'll reduce say 1 mark. So 100 से हो जाएगा 99. Correct? Because you have not stated what b is. Why are they supposed to why are you expecting them to assume that b is 13? If you say that if you write it like this, where a is 2, b is 13, c is 85, then correct. But if you have not explicitly stated the values, you cannot expect them to assume. And that is what I'm talking about when I'm saying that you need to know the art of writing the paper. I'm very fortunate that I realized all of this before my exams, so I could implement this, and that is why I really urge you to implement this, what I am saying, in your answers as well. It is really going to help you, without a doubt. 2 times 2. Okay, I'll not be getting deeper, but if you solve this, you should be getting square minus, sorry, this is the minus sign, exactly. Minus 35. 2 into minus 85. And you get as root 849. So minus x is equals to minus 3 plus minus root of 849 upon 4. And then the roots. Okay, now another important thing to notice. So now what the answers, what you will get is x is equal to plus root, like you take a positive root, that gives you the answer as 4.03, or x can also equal negative 13 minus root of 849 divided by 4, and that gives you minus 10.5 something. Correct? Now because it is, you need to be really careful here, because it is a side, it's a measurement, it cannot be negative, but you have to state that you have achieved these answers, and then you have evaluated these answers, and then you have written that this is your final answer. So this evaluation is really important. Okay, now we're coming up to the little trickier parts of the paper. Thank you guys for being with me. You just have to find first the dy by dx, that is the gradient function. use the formula, that is a n x n minus 1. That, like, I'm sorry. Okay, but you just get the power down, multiply it here, so 3x, and you reduce the power by 1. Then you get the power 2 multiplied by 3, 6, and x reduce the power 2 by 1 again, so it's 1, and minus 4 is ignored, so constant. That is, and then you substitute, so f dash 1, that is the way you can supposed to write it. Substitute, and that is your answer. Correct. I really want to focus more upon not the fact that what answers you're getting, because the answers you can get can be correct more often than not, and of course the teachers can help you much better than I can. They can explain it to you very well. But what I want to make a point is about the way of writing as well. Okay, at this point of time, when most of the paper is completed, also you are feeling like a sense of satisfaction, and it's also like, okay, now the nervousness, the period of nervousness is gone. Now you're into the zone. Now you're doing your math. That's not a problem, but it's just also about the stamina and how much mental endurance that you can have, you know, and how fresh you are. The routine that you have had before the exam, everything matters at this point of time. At 10 a.m. if your paper is starting, it does not affect you at 10 a.m. It affects you at 11:25, 11:30. That is the point in time where you start feeling the exhaustion, where you start getting hit by it. Because now, for example, you might have noticed, now if you solve a paper at this hour, you know, if you've been through the school the entire day, and if you've woken up, not had a good sleep, then it will induce silly mistakes like it had done to me also. But if I would be solving the same paper at say 10 a.m. in the morning with a good sleep, and if I have developed the mental endurance that I have, of course, that if you have developed it, then you will be able to, you know, survive this and also pass this well with flying colors. So you have also endured the test of giving you the graph of functions first, drawing the plotting the graph first. You've done that well, and now you are doing the algebra part, the functions and all of this little tricky questions where it is highly possible that you make a lot of errors. Okay, find the coordinates of the turning points of the graph of y is equal to fx. So so that was what I was saying. Sorry, let me just sip some water. Right, yeah, that was exactly what I was saying, right? That is truly essential, because this is the moment where you have those 50 minutes with you. You have this extra 50 minutes with you. Let's say you want to keep half an hour for checking and cross-checking. You have this extra 20 minutes also now. Now what do you do with these 20 minutes? It is exactly at these moments where you say, okay boss, now 2 minutes I am taking a break for myself. Just like I sip water, sip some water, just close your eyes, just, you know, take deep breaths, reinstill the confidence in yourself, and then, you know, just go again. So that is what I am saying. When you take these pauses, you need to know what are the important moments now. Now it is telling me coordinates of the turning points. I know all the formulas, I know everything, but I need to ensure that not even a single sign goes wrong. I don't substitute it wrong, I don't multiply it wrong. I have to get every damn thing correct to get that 100 correct. And I know that by the end of it, you'll all feel that you're capable of getting that 100. So if you need to achieve that, you need to get everything correct on that day. And the best way to ensure it is by taking breaks, refreshing your mind, and practicing the endurance exercises that I'll share with you in the near future. Now, coordinates of the turning points, very simple. The gradient is 0, so 3x square minus 6x equal to 0. Very simple question, guys. A nice easy paper, yeah. You guys must be wondering that, okay, abhi next year difficult paper aayega and we guys got away with it, the easy one. Okay, maybe I'm feeling it easy because I have the practice, but yeah, anyway. very simple quadratic equation that we have solved. No rocket science here. Right? Now if x is now this is where I'm talking about structuring the paper and writing it well. If x is equal to 0, f of 0, I can write y, but f of 0 is a better way of writing, is equal to, I can give the step like 0 cube plus minus 3, 0 square minus 4, but I'm just writing it right now. If x is equal to 2, then then I will write it as f of 2, and then just substitute. So 2 cube would be 8, minus 3 into 4 would be minus 12, and then minus 4 again would be minus 8. So the answer to this question, that is your answer. Correct. This is the answer, guys. I hope you're understanding this well. Thank you, ma'am, for the praise. Fine. Yeah. And then we've been asked to sketch the graph. When you're asked to sketch the graph, you need to understand that, okay, you've been asked the turning points, so you need to give them the turning points. What we'll first identify, x cube is positive, correct? So the shape of the graph has to be the shape of the graph has to be somewhat like this, correct? Now you can also from the equation identify the y-intercept, that is minus 4. So it will cut the y-axis somewhere right here at minus 4. The next thing that we can identify is the turning point is 0, minus 4. So 0, minus 4 is 0, minus 4 will come somewhere here. Sorry, 0, minus 4. This is minus 4. Okay. Fine. And the next turning point is 2, minus 8. Yeah, 2, minus 8. So 2 would be somewhere here, and you need to ensure that it is somewhere in proportion. Like I cannot plot minus 4 here and plot minus 8 here. Wrong. Moderators will cut 1 mark. You need to ensure it's little in proportion. So minus 4 is here, minus 8 is here, and then you can just roughly plot it like this somewhere, and then you take it up. Yeah, pardon me, the sketch will be really bad, but you can find it up. And what I recommend everybody to do is, you have your calculator, so you don't give them any scope of cutting the marks, right? You have your calculator, you give them the x-intercept and the y-intercept, even if they ask or they don't ask. They may not be cutting marks for not giving the x-intercept, but we don't take a chance. So what I would do is, I would just say mode 5 and solve this cubic equation. And the answer that I get is 3.35 or something. Wait, yeah, 3.36. yeah, and then I write it here. So I'm not giving the examiner any scope. I have sketched it perfectly. I am showing that this is the turning point. I am showing him that this is the turning point. Give the coordinates of it. I have shown him that everything is correct. The shape is correct, the turning points are correct, the intercepts are correct, and so now he has no choice but to award me the full 2 marks. So sometimes you need to do the hard work, and that you will realize when you do the past papers, what you can get away with and what you have to do the hard work. Yes, this is the crazy question that I was talking about. Paper, there was one particular question that had 3 right answers, and all 3 of them seemed to be right. So what would you have done in this situation? if you could answer in the comments, that would be great. What would you do in the situation? There are 3 correct answers for you, and you have checked again and again. You've tried all the 3 methods. You're getting different answers. You've tried everything possible thing, but you're still getting different answers. And this has never happened in the history of IGCSE before. So, of course, we were all startled. Some of the students, what they did was they saw one method, and then they found one answer, and then they were like, okay, we got the answer. That's a fair approach. But what I did, because I wanted that 100 so badly, I was like, I will cross check it with this method, that method, and see that I should leave no stone unturned. I should leave no room for error, because 100 is 100, 99 is not 100 as well, right? So that was that that dedication perhaps, and that really led me to solve all those 3 methods, and those 3, and even then when I got those 3 answers, I'll tell you what I did when we get to that question. So be with me, and please do not go anywhere. Okay, show that AB is equal to 10.54. Trigonometry, simple. We use the SOHCAHTOA, that is the right angle triangle. So AB, we will use the cos rule. So cos 31 is equal to AB upon 12.3. So AB is equal to 12.3 into cos 31. And yeah, you will know this definitely, that when you have to do a show that, if it is not an exact answer, you need to give it to at least one more decimal place. So I will say 10.54. See, this is important, to give at least one more decimal place than the originally stated one. And yeah, if it is something like 10.5401, you cannot leave it at 0. Chokra, you have to give the 1, because 540 is equivalent to 10.54. So you cannot do that. Although it is correct, although they may give you the marks, but moderators will definitely cut them. So 5401 is important, but 543 for now is fairly sufficient. So that angle DAC is 41.80 degrees. What is DAC? Okay, again we use the cos rule. Yeah, DAC, right? Yeah. So 12.3 upon 16.5. So cos of DAC is 12.3 upon 0.5, 16.5, and here you get as 41.802 degrees. That is what you get the answer. So now calculate BD. Yes, I think this is the question. Perhaps this one or this one. Okay, let's solve. Okay, calculate BD. What is BD? BD is this question, yeah. Alright, so we have a lot of rules that we can use. Now the first thing that we know is we can find out the length of CD. We can find that out. We can find out, we know the length, correct? Oh, one more thing. This is a quadrilateral. This is not a 3D figure. Not a 3D figure. Very important to read the question. So if it was a 3D figure, you would assume this to be a 90 degree right angle, and this angle BCD to be a right angle. But because it is a quadrilateral, it's a 2D figure, that means that this is a straight triangle ABD. Now you have this 41.80, you have this 10.54. That means you can use the cosine rule and find the answer. So what we will do, angle BAD, we will first find this angle, this thing. So this will be 31 plus 41.8. correct? Angle BAD is 1 plus. When you don't get the answer, you always know trigonometry में सिर्फ 4 things are there: cos rule, sine rule, the SOHCAHTOA हुआ, that is a right angle triangle rule, and the Pythagoras theorem. यही 4 चीज they will again and again घुमा फिरा and ask. You have to just find if you don't understand what you have to do, just find the value of every possible side you can find and then see कि कहाँ से क्या angle you have to remove and you can find the answer. Correct? So 31 plus 41.8, that gives you the answer as 72.80 degrees. And then if you use the cos rule, then BD square will be AB square plus C square again. No. 10.54 square. You do not write A square is equal to B square plus C square minus 2BC cos A. No. You have not specified what A is, what B is, what C is, and what capital A is. So you have no right to even write that. Okay. You cannot write it. Okay, you can write but you will use the marks. So you should not write it. Alright. Let's get back. 10.54 square plus 16.5 square minus 2 10.54 16.5 cos 72.8, and then you find the answer and you square root it. Let me just go a little quick because I think it may be getting a little quick. And then when you square root it, you get the answer as 16.7. You get the answer. Get BD square somewhere around 280. So BD is 16.7. Now, almost done with this, guys. Thank you for staying through the entire stream. You have done a great job, guys. To all both of you watching the stream, I'm really glad you have watched the stream through. Now, calculate angle CBD. This I think is the crazy question. Now, CBD. Okay, now you have found out the length. This is 16.7. You have found out CBD. This is the question. Now, one approach, which is the most rational approach, is you take A, B, C as a triangle. Very uncomplicated approach. Correct? You know that they are going to test you on cos rule and then they are going to test you on sine rule. अभी cos rule तो तुमने use कर लिया यहाँ पे. You use the cos rule here. तो sine rule बचा अभी. So now you know that one question you have to use the sine rule. Correct? Now, this question here. What one thing you can do is first you can find this angle. Very rational approach. Because this is ABC is 90, you can find ABD here and then you find this 90 minus करके. Okay? So what will that come up to? So you have this angle, and always try to understand कि when you have done cos rule once, try to show the examiner that you also know the sine rule. So I could use the cos rule also over here, but I want to show the examiner that I know the sine rule, so I will use the sine rule. Okay, so what I will say, sine ABD. You need to show the examiner that you have the capability. That's all what it's about. It's about proving yourself to the examiner, proving yourself to yourself as well. Correct? So that is how you have to solve it up. And then it comes up to 72.8, 16.7. 16.7. So So then I got the answer of sine ABD, angle ABD, and this was the method that I had done, by the way. This is the question which has many answers. 70.7 degrees, and so angle CBD is equal to 90 minus 70.7 is equal to 19.3 degrees. Okay, now this is one way. So the first answer that we have got is 19.3. So what we have done, we have found out this angle, this one, and then because this is 90, we have subtracted 90 minus ये जो मिला उसको subtract करके we have found this one. Now what if we want to do it with another method? We can do it with another method. We can use this triangle also. We can find out the length for this, find out the length of this, and use the cos rule. Correct? How will we find out the length of this? CD will be equal to 12.3 square plus 16.5 square. What will the answer amount to? CD square. Yeah. So CD will be 20. Sorry. No, that's what it is. Yeah, night. Many others are made. Yeah, you've corrected the mistake, guys. And so CD, we get the answer as 11.0. That is the answer for CD. I hope you're getting it, guys. I know it can be a little too boring sometimes, or too taxing, but thank you for being here. Now BC again would be 12.3 square minus 10.54 square. So 12.3 square minus 10.54 square, and you wrote the answer. That gives you 6.34. Okay, and then you've used the cos rule. So when you use the cos rule, you get an answer of some 20.6. Okay, and there's also another method that we can use. Now what is that method? We can find out this angle by using the SOHCAHTOA. Correct, because this is equal to sine of this angle, sine of the green angle, let's call it x. Sine of x would be 10.54 upon 12.3. SOHCAHTOA. So, and that's why this angle would be 59.0. Okay, and then this entire big angle would be, add 90 to that would become 149 degrees. And then you use the sine rule. So sine 149 upon 16.7, this is a decimal here, is equal to 11. So sine of theta upon 11. And then when you do that, you get some answer that theta is 19.7 degrees. Now this was a very strange incidence because all three methods are correct. So what do you do in such an incidence? What do you do in such an incidence? Such a rare case where there are three answers. So what I did was that, okay, cos rule ek bar we have used, so I need to show the examiner that I know that I can use the sine rule. So what I did was, okay, I eliminated this answer, that I am not going to write this 20.6 answer. Although it is correct, I will not write it. Then the next answer, or next thing what I did was, I checked the marks. I checked it was 4 marks question. If it is a 4 marks question, that, and I knew when I have done the past papers, I saw that all these sine rule things I was getting 3 marks. Correct. So I knew that this entire equation, this step and this step will give me 3 marks. So the 4th mark should be for doing this operation. The 4th mark should be for doing this and getting the final answer. So that is how I analyzed the paper and I went with this answer. Although all 3 answers were later, Cambridge recognized them all. But in such a situation, you do not need to panic, and that is where the analytical skills and the memory of what comes into play over here. That was the crazy question here. Okay, and let me not bore you guys any further. Let's just proceed just so very quickly here. Whoever is this Microsoft account, please let us have some constructive conversations. I know it is someone who is trying to prank me up, but let us focus on being a little constructive here. And if you would reveal your real account, that would have been better. You could talk later then. Okay, C to shortest distance from C to BD, again a very simple question. You know that we use sine C, so you could say it is, this one would be, let's say the distance is D, let the distance be D. Then D is equal to sine 19.3 into 6.34, and then you get your answer. Which comes to about 2.10 centimeters. Okay, this is a functions question, and I think this is the last question. Okay, this is another question. Okay, but fine. But this is a pretty simple question here. Okay, find j minus 1. So we just substitute minus 1 here. So minus 1 square is 1. Minus 1 square is 1. So answer is 1. Find x when fx plus gx is equal to 0. At this point of time, it's just very important that you don't get overconfident and that you don't get really frustrated or annoyed with yourself. Ki chalo, the difficult part of the paper is over, most of the paper is over, and because this is where last question, you do not want to induce a mistake. When you have done everything so correctly, you do not want to falter in the end. So find x when this is 0. So you substitute 2x minus 1 plus 3x plus 2 is 0. 5x plus 1 is 0. So x will be minus 1 upon 5. Simple GGX. So simply composite functions, but we can take it slowly, right? We do not need to hurry up. Then you again substitute 3x plus 2 in place of the x. If you do it in 2 steps, it is simpler for you. It's not very crucial. Functions is a very lenient chapter. It's not very crucial to show too many steps here. But it's important that you be careful because errors can be very easily induced here. Now this is another good question. HFX. So h of 2x minus 1 plus g of 1 by x. We have to find what it is equivalent to. H is 1 upon 2x minus 1 plus, and g is 3x plus 2. 1 upon 3x. Oh, sorry. 2 upon x. Right? Now what we do, we just simply equalize the denominators. This is 2 minus x plus upon x plus 1 upon 3x plus 2. Multiply this term by 3x plus 2 multiply 1 by x, and the denominator is x times 3x plus 2. That gives us 6x minus 3x square plus 4 minus 2x plus x upon x 3x plus 2, which when is simplified it gives you minus 3x square. 6x minus 2x is 4x plus x is 5x plus 4 upon x 3x plus 2. So this is your answer. Alright. Okay, wait 1 second. Really sorry with this. I think I made another error. You could just question my credibility, or I believe that could be possible. But yeah. बोलो. हाँ खत्म कर रहा, 5 मिनट दो. Sorry about the lag. Yeah, there's a little problem there. Okay, so let's get back to the question. So that comes up to 1 upon 2x minus 1 plus 3 upon x plus 2. And if you just really equate it quickly, let's do it. 1 upon 2x minus 1 plus 3 upon 2x plus x. Gives you x plus 3 plus 2x, 2x minus 1, x 2x minus 1. That gives you x plus 6x plus 4x square plus upon x 2x minus 1. Yeah, little, it's getting late night. I've been on the road since 5 today. Maybe that is why sometimes, but yeah, this is your answer. pp is equal to x px, so just need to be careful with this. So this is what you get. Even if you find the inverse, you get the same answer. Yeah, that is the answer for this question. Sketch the graph of tan x, which is a very simple question. So tan 180 we all know is 0. So it is something like this. It comes here, and you need to show it like this, not beyond 360, but like this. Find x when tan x is 1 upon root 3. Again, a very simple question. Just find the inverse of it in your calculator. x is 30, but you need to say that tan x is equal to tan 180 plus x. So x is equals to 210 also. So x is equal to 30 or x is equal to 210. You need to give both these values. Even if they have not given you the blanks, they may be tricking you, but you need to give the answer. Okay, that is the answer. And this is where we come to the end of the paper. Thank you guys for being with me. If one of you has been through the entire duration of this stream, it's really commendable. Thank you for your perseverance, and I'm sure that you have gained something. You have gained some tips. No, it will not be accepted. 30 and 210 both are required. That is what I said, right? If that is a genuine question, Microsoft account, because I suppose you are just intended to mocking me, but if that is a genuine question, then yes, both are required. 30 only will not be accepted. You won't get full marks for that question. Alright, I hope you gained something from this. I'm really glad for all the viewers I had at this time during the stream. Thank you so much. I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.